Okay, we're going to try again. I had to start over. So hopefully, let me know if the volume is back on. I think maybe when I took the phone off, or my phone off, I might have hit my volume button.
Maybe.
You
Or
can
you might
see.
hit mute.
Judy, can we hear the volume? Can you hear me now?
Video stopped altogether. We know that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We're good. We're back to... Okay. So, did you guys hear any of the products that were used on Kristen's? Okay, so you can hear now. Okay. So go ahead and start again.
Okay. So the top was a plastic bunny from the dollar store that's covered in Tim Holtz foundry wax, the statue color, and then added with distressed crayon, black soot to grab the cracks. The egg is a cardstock egg that then has panels that had... I first put the walnut stain embossing glaze by Tim Holtz. I then took steel wool to it to pull the shine. Then ran it through, cut all the windows, ran it through a Sizzix Tim Holtz 3D embossing folder mechanic. Then dry embossed with the statue foundry wax. Down here, you'll see the walkway. That is using the opaque texture paste. And the bricks that were cut from the mini 3D embossing folder, individually cut and placed. The crocheted basket with the carrots is from my mom, and the carrots are paper clay painted with distressed paint. If you go up to the conveyor belt or the walkway, this has the Tim Holtz Ideology paper flowers that were colored. The white ones, they were colored with a mixture of distress sprays and oxide sprays. They are then lit from underneath with one of the Christmas Tim Holtz Ideology tiny lights strings. The hot air balloon is using a Sizzix hot air balloon die that was also embossed with the Tim Holtz 3D mechanic embossing folder and then dry embossed with Tim Holtz black soot distress stain. The barrels are the Tim Holtz barrels from Ideology, which are the perfect size. I did stuff the bottom with a styrofoam ball, so I didn't have to use all of my eggs. The tiny lights, again, there's two sets. One the colored set and one is the white set to light up the inside. And it is covered with a piece of paper and moss to hide. So,
yeah, send photos to Tim. He said.
I posted and tagged him on my Instagram, and I posted in the Tim Holtz Addicts.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure it'll get to him.
So this is just awesome.
This
really
is like,
awesome.
Yeah, it's just.
It was entered into a contest by Lucy Abrams. She
Okay.
does the paper glitter glue. Mm-hmm. She was running an Easter contest. So
Well, did you hear yet?
She says she'll post the winners on Sunday, Easter Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
Did we also miss the amount of time it took?
Oh yeah,
It took about 20 to 24 hours of work time, and then probably about another 10 to modify the cut files for the egg and to create the walkway. As that was basically taking the base, I enlarged it. Oh, and the railing is a very old Tim Holtz
it looks familiar.
strip die that still had the foam. It was like when you first came out with Thinlits. That's this die cut down. I took only the top half.
Somebody want to know what kind of moss you used for the grass.
Just one of those moss sheets, the pre-stuck sheets that you can get from the floral area.
Yeah. Just magnificent. It's just like totally.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. Now Mona's up after her.
Sorry.
So.
Apologies
Oh my my, oh gosh, no, that's, you can interrupt anytime with your projects. Oh my gosh. So thank you so much. So I'm going to rotate and put the phone back in, and hopefully the sound is not going to go off. I'm going to watch, and then Mona's up to let me know if everything is still good. So somebody just let me know that you can hear. We're in the right direction. Candy, you got it. You can't, like, yeah. So, thumbs up, so we're good. Okay. So, Mona, take it away.
Yay. Good morning, everybody. I don't know if I could top that. What I'm going to show you is the Concord 9th pop-up base dies. They came out with them a couple months ago, I think. They make a really cute pop-up. I'm not going to actually make a card, but I'm going to show you how to use these. I'll show you my first trial. I'm going to put this down. Not knowing exactly how the die was going to work, I always try to make a sample. So this was my first one to see how everything went together. Now I use 65-pound paper, so my candles, you see, are flipping around. They're real flimsy, but you know, you get the concept of how it's going to work. However, I didn't take into account where my pop-ups were going to go, and so here's my candle sticking out on a closed card. So that is why I do a mock-up first to see how things are going to work. So then my next card, which was a good card, if I can find where I put it now, here it is this one. Now, because I like a nice sturdy card, my paper is usually anywhere between 80 pounds and 100 pounds. Generally speaking, that's the weight of paper I use, unless I'm going to use it as a layer. A cute thing is, if you can see my speckles, and I'll bring it up close, they're actually shiny. And that was just done with a spatter. And a while ago, I came into the store because I needed gold spatter, probably at Christmas time. And so I got one of those little tubs of the gold. And then I'm pretty sure it was Kim said, well, wouldn't this work? This is all pearlescent watercolor paints, which is what I use to spatter. Look at all the colors that you get in there. I mean, you can match anything you want. And the funny thing about this is that not only is it only $8.99, but it's in the kids section. So I now have this on my cart as something to use all the time, because this is the orange I used. It was, no, maybe this was the orange I used. It was perfect. It matched perfect. So you might want to keep that in mind if you like to spatter because you got a plain background. $8.99, and look at all the colors. Awesome. So I just thought I'd share that with you. So now we'll open the card, and the Happy Birthday was from Concord 9th. I just want to find the proper set for you guys. It was from this set, which is the candles, and then the matching dies. I like how this works. You can cut out 5 at a time. This one cuts out the larger flame. This cuts out the little flame. And then you have 3 different designs, and you can do them a couple different ways. It also has this one, which would mat your solid cutout if you wanted. This one right here. Or I'm pretty sure, but I didn't try, that it would also cut out this one real nice, the stamped one. So you could do either or, because the stamp set does have the designs also. And this fits perfectly. This Biggest Birthday Wishes also fits perfectly on the candles. So there's that. And same with Make-A-Wish. Because of learning about how the candles go, this is what I ended up with. I hope you can see it okay. So I didn't put any down here because I was afraid that I would go over the edge. But instead I stamped my saying, biggest birthday. The colors and everything were just nice. Now, because of my situation here in the stem here, on this particular one, because it'll stay in the store, I did back each flame area with acetate. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there. You can see that I backed. And then I also added another candle. So this is the inside, biggest birthday wishes, the outside. And because it was a little thicker and I didn't want it to pop up, although it's getting trained now, that's why I have the ribbon on it. So, all right, so that's this one. I started another one. Oh, sorry. Which is this one. I still haven't figured out how to finish it, but this is also a Concord 9th, a Concord 9th die, and they do have a stamp that goes with it. So this is the stamp set right here, and I will be adding some sayings there. And then this is the die set. So you see there's all small pieces. Now, why I'm talking about small pieces, here it is. I think I'm going to splatter or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I did have to trim. No, actually, I didn't trim on this one. I used the full length of the die. So I used the dies as they were and didn't trim. I did use an extra little die here, so I would have grass. Can you see where I'm there? So I would have grass. But, so there's that one. And I just want to say, I always have a lot of parts left over, an envelope or so. So I've been sticking them in these CD envelopes. But I don't know if anybody's seen the Brutus Monroe sticky mat. It goes in your MISTI or your stamping tool so that your paper sticks to it. Lots of times I have to, you use your magnets, but sometimes the magnets are in the way. So it comes covered with the sheet. And I'm just going to roll it back. But my thought was, when doing this, because we're working with so many little parts, how nice would it be to be able to stick your little parts as you're cutting them onto this sticky mat. And look they don't go anywhere then. They're stuck. They're stuck on there. They stay on there. And then you aren't losing your little parts. Because if you see this part on the boot, look how tiny that is. And you could blow it and blow away. But if you use the sticky mat, it stays real nice. And he also has a spray so you can clean your sticky mat so it lasts longer. So, don't just think of it as inside your MISTI. Think of how it could help you with your tiny little pieces, especially if you love to die cut and put things together. This is like a lifesaver. So I just wanted to share that with you also. Okay, so we have one more card here that I started. And I'm always making your A2 cards, which is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It's on a rare occasion that I make. I think it's called an A4 and it's a 7 by 5. It's on a rare occasion that I do that. But I think that these particular dies, if you wanted to use the full length of them right here, then you might want to go to an A7 because it gets a little crowded. So this is the one where I'm going to show you how to assemble it, and we're using these candles, and I've already pre-stamped Happy, Happy Birthday from the candle set. So you see I have 3 tiers. 1, and that's the front tier. 2, and this is the second tier. And you'll notice I cut down my front ones so that they will work. They still look nice. And then this is my very back tier. I've already put my tape on the part that's going to be connected to the card. And I'm going to try an experiment with you guys, and we'll see if it works, because it's hard to assemble your candles when it's standing up like this, because you got to work kind of awkward and it's hard to line them up. So I'd really like to take and assemble before I adhere to the card. But my concern was that I wouldn't be able to, I'd be able to do this first one in the simple way, but I was worried about the next layers. So we're going to give this a shot. So what I have here is your typical A2 card. So it's the 5.5 by 4.25. Okay. And I did trim this. And so just keep in mind that when you're using this die, you can trim any one of them you want. It doesn't matter. You can only use 2 if you want. You can have pop-ups like this one, using that acetate. So we've got the cute little pop-ups, so they're watering all the flowers. So they don't have to be used exactly at this size. So this back one was trimmed, and now I'm going to put one side in. So like I said, I've already got the tape on. So I'm just going to pull it off. Easier said than done. There we go. And you're going to go on a diagonal. So I want to make this, and I got to move this up. I want to make this as close to the edge as possible, because it was a pretty tight fit. So we're going to go like that. And you'll see I went on the diagonal there. Okay. Now for this one, I could close it and stick it, but I don't want to do that yet because I want to get the other layers on. So now I've got this layer on. So I'm going to go to my next layer, this one, and do the same thing. So you're not going like this, the long edge. You're just using that short triangle edge, and that's your line up for putting it down. And I'm just going to double check because I want it tight to that and make sure that my middle candle, the ones closest to the center, are not going over the edge. That way I know I'm okay and it won't stick out like this beauty. You can put anything on these pop-ups too. You could raise them if you want, put a little acetate behind. So once again, I'm going to put this right by the score at the diagonal, and I'm going to put it up against my other candles. So now that's on. So now we got 2. And now we're going to do the final one, which is smaller. Oh, I forgot to put tape on one edge. Let me get my tape. We'll put that tape on real quick. I decided not to put that inner wick on this because I kind of thought that it ruined my flow. So now we'll put the small one down. And again, we're going to put it close to the other. And right on that diagonal. You don't want it this way. You want that triangle, half of the triangle. So I'm going to put it close to the fold. Make sure that my middle candles aren't over. Okay. So here comes the next part. It's a little tricky, but I think it's better than having to do each layer by itself. So I'm going to put this over like this, lay it over itself, this particular layer, and I'm going to pull my tape. Hope you saw that. So I pulled the tape there. Now I'm going to take this next layer, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, only I'm working over. I just want to make sure I have it lined up. I'm working over these other candles. And then the very last layer, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm kind of looking for my other candles too to make sure everything's lined up good. So now I have these 3 layers laying over each other. And I'm just going to shut the card and smooth it. I hope that makes sense. It's so much easier to be able to prepare your strips before you put them in. And look at that. There we go. It's all connected. Nothing's hanging over. This one's pretty close. But there you go. Isn't that pretty? And like I said, I chose not to on this one because they do give you, you can cut 5 of the flames at a time and 5 of the inner flames. But on this particular one, I chose not to use the flames. Once again, 80 pounds for the card base, probably 100 pound for the multicolors, or 80. I didn't feel the need, because I was using that thicker paper and I saw how everything worked, to put any acetate in between, because sometimes I double up things in the back. But with this one, I didn't feel the need. So, and if you want to get it true, you just bend it back a little, and it's really cool how that works. And it's neat inside. If you want to put your paper down, of course, you need to think about that before you put your 3D element on. So if you can see, I have my paper down here, but I had to put it down before I did my 3D element. So keep that in mind, that you have to think about that. And I never, whenever I have a fold, like here, I never put my paper, I never take a full piece of paper and then fold it and put it down, because it'll buckle. Each layer stretches differently, so that's why even if I put it right next to the seam, I would not put one full piece. I would put 2 pieces right into the seam, so it would look like they were together, but they're not, because as you fold, it's going to buckle. And I can show you that here. I went against my rule, and right here, I did not glue all the way to the edge because I knew it was going to buckle. So I only did my glue or tape to about here and left that open. But if you can see my middle layer here, see how it puckered? And that's because the once you have that paper down and you fold, it needs to stretch, and it can't stretch because you have it glued down. So you don't want to glue all the way into the fold, and you want to try not to use one piece, but 2 if you can. Now this one, it wouldn't have looked right if I had the white in center. So, I just made sure that I didn't put my tape all the way to the edge. But then this one came out okay. I struggled a little with this one. So I hope you understand how to do this. We have both the flower set and we have the pop-up set in stock. We already placed a reorder for the candles, because the candles can be used for so many things. And just the important takeaway, I think, from this is just take your time. And you saw that you can lay them down and adhere them all at once. So you can decorate your pop-up layers before you put them in the card. And I'm pretty sure on this one I'm going to spackle it with my kids' paints. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to assemble. I mean, you can make some magnificent cards. And using the Brutus Monroe sticky mat to help you with your little pieces, I swear to God that was a lifesaver, because I'm currently working on the kitchen table, and when it's time to eat, I have to move all my stuff, so I would lose stuff. But once it was on the sticky mat, it was fine, and it's easy to remove off the sticky mat. So easy peasy, beautiful cards. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a rest of creative day. Thanks. Have a good day.